Greetings, digital world. Welcome back to another episode of Spliced In Later. I hope you're all well. I hope you're doing safe and calm and happy out there in the crazy world that we live in at the moment, and that life is treating you just dandy. Now, today's episode is one I've wanted to do since I began back in 2019, but I have not been able to find the courage to do it, the energy to do it, the motivation to do it, because it's a good topic. It's a topic that should bring a lot of fun and joy, but it's also a heavy topic. And I like to focus on the positivity or a lightheartedness, if you will, for this show. I very rarely take any political stances, any emotional sides in anything that's going on in worlds or movie productions. Even if I don't like a movie, I've been kind as I've said nasty things, because that's just the sort of atmosphere that we are trying to put through on this show here. But today's episode, I think, is relevant. It needs to be done at some point, and the time seems right, in my opinion, to tackle it. So here we go, because today we are talking about the rest in peace Robin Williams, one of the greatest comedians of our time and the star of many of my favorite films. Now, when I was younger and getting into movies, I absolutely would cement Robin Williams as one of the original inspirations for me to look into movies. There are a few actors that fall into this regard, many of them comedians. I found myself drawn to a lot more comedic actors and comedy films in my youth. I don't know if that was because of my personality. I think I was looking for that lighthearted easygoingness that a comedy film provides, just looking for laughter. There's a joyous sense when you laugh at something that's someone funny has done, when you get the giggles or you laugh so much you cry. There are so many instances where I can think back on certain things. Sometimes they're just even bloopers from my favorite movies or TV shows. There's just something wonderful about the ability to make people laugh, and to laugh in such a unlimited sense where you just laugh so much you can't stop. Jim Carrey, I've mentioned before, Eddie Murphy, Bill Murray, and of course Robin Williams. Robin Williams was a national icon. He was something unique about him that I don't think has been done before, certainly to his regard, and certainly has not been done since. If you are unfamiliar with who Robin Williams is, okay, it's a strange place to start on here, but I'll try and alleviate that information for you. Robin Williams was one of the funniest people in the world. He was a comedian. I don't know if he started in stand-up comedian. My history of early day Robin Williams isn't too well known in my brain. I know him from the days when he showed up on sitcoms, on Mork and Mindy and stuff like that, before eventually branching into films. But he was a comedian, like most comedians are, who used physical humor and the ability to observe what's going on around them, or to imitate and improvise, all of that stuff. But there was an infectiousness to him that was so uniquely Robin Williams, and that was the ability to just fire off a spree of jokes and punchlines and everything just from his brain, just off the top of his head. He would just dive in and just say all this stuff non-stop, unlimited, unrestrained. The humor would range anywhere from just reacting to something going on around them and how ludicrous the situation would be, or spot-on imitations from films as dark as The Godfather with Marlon Brando, to as lighthearted as, I don't know, Happy Feet. Happy Feet is one of the films I do not like that Robin Williams is in, but I can't deny that he's good in it. Many people have spoken about working with Robin Williams in the past in some of his classic films, specifically something like Good Morning Vietnam or Aladdin, where he was given a character, but basically an outline of a script, and just said, go nuts. And he would record hours and hours of improvised dialogue of jokes that would just have people in stitches laughing at what he was doing. And then they had the unenvious task of whittling down what he provided for them, like 7 hours worth. They had to go, okay, what's the funniest stuff to put in this 4-minute segment of our hour-and-a-half movie? You can't deny that Robin Williams, his career was certainly up and down in terms of what he was in and how received it was. He was pretty good up in the 80s and the 90s. I think that's when Robin Williams really made his name for the type of role that he was in. But as history can be unkind, as he branched out and did other certain things, he was often met with some sort of criticism, whether he was being too silly or his comedy wasn't funny anymore, or he branched more into what a lot of comedians do, which is they go for the family films, and the family films aren't necessarily as good as the more R-rated older films. Robin Williams did it all while he was around, whether it was thrillers, horrors, family, crude humor, over the top, magical, whatever you want to do, he did it all. Now, unfortunately, what happened to Robin Williams is very sad, and we'll get that out of the way quickly, because my main goal for this episode, aside from just saying how great Robin Williams was, which he was, as I said, his infectious humor and laughter and the ability to make people laugh and all of that, and the zaniness just sparked up the lives of people, everyone who knew him or experienced his films. I also just want to pick out some of my favorite Robin Williams films and just go, these are some good ones. One of them is on my top 100 bucket list movie, so of course that'll be the title of this episode, but there's several others which I'll hope to address. Now, you may agree with me whether you like these Robin films, you may not. You may think they're trash, and that's okay. As I've said before in the past, we all like and appreciate different things. The important thing is, for a subject like this, is not to let that hang over you. If I say I like this Robin Williams film and you go, no, that's crap, don't let that influence your appreciation of Robin Williams the man and Robin Williams the episode that we are doing, because we all like and appreciate different things. But we'll get it out of the way. It's almost 7 years to the day since Robin Williams unfortunately took his own life. I remember the day it happened. I was with two of my friends and we were on a road trip. We were going up to do a very nerdy thing, which was that the new series of Doctor Who was about to premiere, and the new Doctor Peter Capaldi was traveling around doing the Doctor Who festival to screen the first episode to everybody. So we were very excited about that. We were going up to Sydney here in Australia. We had our tickets booked at the theatre. We had no idea what the episode was going to be about. And I remember I turned on the internet because, it's a 3-hour drive and you want to find some things to talk about. You can't talk about the same stuff over and over again. And I remember seeing something that said Robin Williams had passed away. And I remember telling my friends, and they were going, nah, that's one of those Harrison Ford fell off a cliff, or Jeff Goldblum's been lost at sea. That can't be real. In the same way that I think I reacted when Chadwick Boseman passed away last year. When I was first told about it, I went, nah. A young person like Chadwick Boseman, he can't be dead. That's silly. But no, yes, Robin Williams indeed had passed. And what was more, as people learned about it, was that he did take his own life. He unfortunately was struggling with a lot of demons that had been surmounting in the last few years. Looking into the research into Robin Williams and the documentaries and everything going on, you could argue that this had always been there and is an issue with comedians, which always worries me, which is the funniest ones always seem to be suffering from the most upsetting demons. I guess it takes a lot to be funny all the time and to be expected to always be this happy, caregoing, zany personality. People don't expect that the most mentally struggling or the most emotionally challenged people are probably the ones who are using that comedy to enlighten their lives themselves, because they're desperate for that laughter and appreciation. And I think it had been something that had been with Robin Williams since the moment he started. I know he struggled with drug and alcohol abuse in the early 80s as well. He was open about that in his interviews, about how he used to do a ton of cocaine. But I don't know what it was in the last year or two. I believe he also had some medical issues with dementia or something like that. His sitcom had been cancelled. He had some poorly reviewed films. And then I think eventually it just got too much for him, unfortunately. And he did indeed take his own life, which was very sad. I know for weeks and weeks afterwards, people couldn't believe it, couldn't come to terms of it. From that, I believe, has cemented him for a legacy for sure. After that week when he passed, I remember going on a DVD website and just seeing the movies that were trending, and people were just buying up Robin Williams films. And I think you don't appreciate something until it is gone, and that was the case for him. People were like, this guy, this funny guy who made me laugh for all my childhood and my adult years and whatever, he is gone. He is gone because it's something we never knew, because we appreciated him so much for providing us with happiness and emotional support that we never suspected that he needed it. And we will never get any more of his films again. So we need to appreciate what he made. So that's what we're going to do here. I will sign off that bit though by saying, of course, for anybody out there that does feel like they're struggling from that sort of thing, from depression or isolation or anything like that, especially at the current age at the moment with pandemics and lockdowns, everybody is more isolated than they've ever been before. So it is important that if you do find yourself struggling in any sort of way, that you reach out to people around you. It doesn't have to be everybody. It doesn't have to be made public. Just talk to somebody, whether it's your family, your friends, someone professional in a private setting, however you do it. Just be mindful that there are always people out there that care about you and all that drama, who would be very upset if anything happened, and don't let it get to a point where you feel like there's no way out, for sure. Okay, moving past that, Robin Williams, what a guy. I've got a smile on my face just thinking about some of the movies. When we get right into it, of course, he was very well famous for his comedies, his over-the-top, exaggerated stuff, which I believe first real took recognition from Good Morning Vietnam, which is basically just the Robin Williams hour. In that film, Robin Williams plays a radio jock based in War Vietnam, and it's his job on the radio to just provide laughter to the troops. And that is the pure example of Robin Williams mania presented in live action format, where for many uninterrupted scenes, Robin Williams just sits in front of a microphone. He says, "Good morning, Vietnam," and then he just gets to it. And he just fires off pun after pun after everything going on around him. It works well that Robin Williams took the setting of Vietnam and was able to do that in a sense that you felt like he actually was from that period. And you can see everyone around in the radio laughing at him. And it's not just like, oh, we've got to laugh because he's supposed to be funny in the movie. This is genuine laughter and reactions at just Robin Williams' utter mayhem. Good Morning Vietnam is not a stellar film, but it is a testament to him and his type of comedy, and it is a pure example. If you're like, who is Robin Williams? Watch Good Morning Vietnam and you know exactly who he was. Other comedies, I mean, I am a personal fan of The Birdcage, which is a wonderful film with him and Nathan Lane as two lovers, partners, who Robin Williams' son is about to get married, and he's bringing his stuffy future in-laws over to visit, played by Gene Hackman, but Robin Williams runs a gay bar. So they have to pretend that none of that is happening, because Gene Hackman would not be a fan of that. And Nathan Lane even goes so far as to dress up as a woman to pretend to be Robin Williams' actual wife. Again, it's Robin Williams. He plays more of the straight man in that one, where Nathan Lane is the wild, wacky one. But again, it's just reacting to outlandish situations. So they go deeper and deeper into their own lies to prove that they are heterosexual. And it's very funny, and I love that one tremendously. There's also Cadillac Man, where Robin Williams, again, plays a fast-talking person. He's a fast-talking con man and car salesman who gets caught up in a hostage situation involving a very manic Tim Robbins. That one, I think, is an underappreciated gem that not too many people know about, and should definitely get around if they haven't seen it. And even recently, I'm still discovering Robin Williams film comedies that I have not seen before. I recently watched a film, not recently, it's almost been a year, but there you go, that's time for you. I watched a film called Deaf to Smoochie, where Robin Williams plays a disgraced children's show host who is fired for abusing his power and then swears vengeance on the pink rhino Smoochie, dressed up as by Edward Norton, the new children's host. He swears vengeance and revenge on that. And it's a very black comedy directed by Danny DeVito. I believe not many people are fans of it, but I for one am one, and you should check it out. And before I go any further, there is, of course, I wouldn't say this is a comedy film, but it's probably Robin Williams' most well-known comedic role is, of course, playing the genie in Aladdin, which basically, they created this role for Robin Williams, I'm sure, and they said, you are a genie, say stuff. And then, as Good Morning Vietnam was a testament to his live-action zaniness, the genie is Robin Williams unrestrained by live action. If he were able to transform his body to do whatever he wanted, and to illuminate to his jokes, it's what you would get. Genie is one of the reasons why Aladdin is one of the best Disney films of all time. A testament to Robin Williams and his humility was that he asked Disney, please do not use the genie or me to advertise this film. This film is about Aladdin, not the genie. Don't overblow my role in it. And of course, Disney went the exact opposite. The Aladdin poster is notorious for having the genie take up about 85% of the poster. So much so that Robin Williams was so angered by that he certainly did not come back for the Return of Jafar, though I guess they managed to patch things up by the third direct-to-DVD Aladdin film, Aladdin and the King of Thieves, which is one of my favorite direct-to-DVD Disney films of all time, and something that we will address on another countdown, I am sure. Aside from the pure comedy films, he also starred in a lot of family films, which also had an emotional levity to them. Some would say sickly. I know a few certain people that look at these particular films and go, they're just going for the tragic punch without actually having any comedy in it, whatever. To each their own. I don't mind these films. Mrs. Doubtfire, Robin Williams dressing up as Winfred Doubtfire. I love it. He's so crazy just trying to keep up this double act. And when he's being Mrs. Doubtfire, again, it's just Robin Williams thinking on his feet. I really like Bicentennial Man. I'm probably the only one, but I feel an emotional weight to it, where he is the robot that's on his journey to become a human. But they aren't all controversial. There's, of course, Hook, which is basically Peter Pan if he grew up and left Neverland and came back and forgot he was Peter Pan. Robin Williams is remarkable in that as Peter Pan. I love it. It's a very adventure, Goonies-style type movie. And I don't think many people have seen it as much as I would expect. I've often mentioned Hook and people go, oh, that Pan movie with Hugh Jackman? No, I'm talking about something completely different. So if you haven't seen Hook, check that one out. Dustin Hoffman's in it too as Captain Hook, and it is an absolute delight to watch. I could sit here all day and just fire off all the different Robin Williams films, and I'm sure everybody would have different appreciations for them, depending on what it is about Robin Williams that you like, or what type of film you like, whether it's a comedy or a drama or a family film or anything like that. Whether or not you like Patch Adams or Jack, which are some of the most notoriously unpopular Robin Williams films. Whether you've caught one of his adventures into more serious dramas like Insomnia, a lesser-known Christopher Nolan film, when Robin Williams plays a sadistic killer in that. That's really interesting as well. And then there is, of course, the title of this video, Good Will Hunting, which is probably Robin Williams' most dramatic role, and probably one of the most critically acclaimed films of all time that he is in, which is directed by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, or created by them, I don't know which one, but Matt Damon plays Will Hunting, who is this genius kid who has no purpose in life, and then he meets Robin Williams' mentor, doctor person, who teaches him how to seize the day and embrace life and all of that stuff, and it leads to some of the more powerful stuff that Robin Williams has done in terms of quotes and memorability. There's a very famous speech that he gives to Will Hunting about what it means to actually live and what it means to love and all of that stuff. And no matter how many times you see it, it still gets to you, because there's a power to the way Robin Williams is doing it that proves he's not just a zany guy who just likes to tell jokes. He was an actor, and he believed in the stuff he was doing, and he could provide emotional levity or seriousness to whatever it was he was doing. I'm sure you've been wondering, though, you've been waiting, because I've said that this might be one of my favorites, this is one of my favorites, this is one of my favorites, but Spliced In Later. What is your favorite Robin Williams film? And without a doubt, it is Dead Poet Society. Carpe Diem, Seize the Day, or Captain My Captain. This is one of the best films I've ever seen, for sure. And Robin Williams doesn't even play, he's not the star of the film, he's the big name, he's the selling point. But the plot of Dead Poet Society really focuses on a group of kids. One of them played by Robert Sean Leonard and the other by Ethan Hawke. Robin Williams plays their poetry teacher. I think he's their poetry teacher. He could be a history teacher. I'm pretty sure it's just poetry, but whatever. He comes to them at a very stuffy school, which is very much focused on career and future goals and do everything right now and follow a strict rules and regulations to get to a certain point in life. And Robin Williams comes along as Mr. Keating, and he challenges that. He says there's more to life than just following rules and doing what you're supposed to do. You have to live life to the fullest while you can, because we are not all around forever, and you don't want to get to the end of your life and be like, well, I didn't do this because it wasn't the right thing to do, and as a result, I missed out on an incredible opportunity. It's a very uplifting film for the most part, and then a very dark film towards the end, culminating in one of the most powerful scenes in cinema, where he's leaving the classroom and all the students stand up on the desk to salute him for who he is as a person, what he has done to change their view of the world. And in many ways, I believe if it were possible, the whole world should do that. They should stand up on their desks and say, oh, Captain, my Captain, to Robin Williams, if he could hear us, because the way he has not only influenced those kids, but the way he influenced film, the way he influenced comedy, the way he influenced our lives growing up or appreciating his stuff and just bringing us joy and laughter and tears of laughter or tears of sadness, however you want to do. There was no one like him before, and there never will be again. So as we wrap this one up on a kind of a somber note, but also a happy note, because I've rattled off so many Robin Williams films for you now, I'm sure there's one or two you may not have seen, or maybe you will have been inspired to go back and watch some Robin Williams films in appreciation and memorial for him as we get to his 7th anniversary, 7 years since he left us. I hope you've appreciated listening. I have enjoyed talking about it. It's some heavy stuff. It's some serious stuff for sure. Very personal to me, but I'm glad I did it. And yeah, rest in peace, Robin Williams. You were a marvel, both on and off the screen. I will be back in a couple of days. I'm just going to try and finish this off from Robin Williams himself, back when he passed and people were putting together all his famous quotes from his movies. This is him from the end of the movie Jack. This will be on here instead of my usual sign-off music. So I'll once again just finish up by saying I love and appreciate you as always, very much so. You've been spliced in later. Adios, muchachos. I will catch you next time.
You know, as we come to the end of this phase of our life, we find ourselves trying to remember the good times and trying to forget the bad times. And we find ourselves thinking about the future. You start to worry, thinking, what am I going to do? Where am I going to be in 10 years? But I say to you, hey, look at me. Please, don't worry so much. Because in the end, none of us have very long on this earth. Life is fleeting. And if you're ever distressed, cast your eyes to the summer sky, when the stars are strung across the velvety night, and when a shooting star streaks through the blackness, turning night into day. Make a wish. Think of me. And make your life spectacular. I know I did.